Today I want to talk about the transition of summer into fall and the weather getting colder, and also our emotions and moods that may be affected by this. So often we can get a natural dip in energy or joy because we get less sun. It's getting colder. We retreat, like, especially as we're living in this cycle of fall, we hibernate, right? And that can have an effect on our moods. It can have an effect of how much joy we feel and how connected we feel to the world around us. And it's very normal to experience this dip. And to me, because it's just so reachable and easy in summer because everyone's happy, there's so much sun, and it's just always, summer is like the sunshine, the laughter, and then fall becomes like the fall blues. But to me, fall and winter has always been an invitation to connect deeper to joy and to nurture it intentionally. So I want to invite you to just think about the idea of bringing more joy into our lives intentionally at this time. That it can be cultivated in small intentional steps, even when the seasons get a little bit darker and a little bit more gray. So the importance of cultivating that inner joy and that inner light, you can look at it as a way of cultivating inner light. So joy can act as an inner light, as an inner source of warmth. And especially when the external world around us is getting colder, it's getting darker, the need for us to cultivate that warmth, that light, that joy within ourselves becomes stronger. So the way that you see joy can be reframed here, and you can look at it as kind of an anchor, something that you can always return to even when your external world seems dark and gray or maybe chaotic even. Your joy is always there within you. Your light is always there within you. Your warmth is always there. And once you start seeing it as an anchor that you can always connect back to, that you can always come back to, you can start to nurture it more. You can start to see it more as something to be nurtured and not just something that can come out when your environment is great and when the people around you are happy or when it's summer, but it's always accessible. It's always available to you. So I want to give you 5 gentle practices to invite a little bit more joy into your life. The first one is embracing cozy rituals. So especially when it gets colder outside, it's so nice to pour a little bit more energy into having these cozy spaces inside. It can bring comfort, it can bring safety, and it can bring warmth to just really dedicate some energy to cultivating that environment for yourself within your home. So this can look like, having soft blankets, having soft pillows, and really adding that piece of warmth to your home when it gets colder outside and when it may be a little bit more dark. And this can even look like making your favorite warm drink and just taking the time to intentionally enjoy it. Or wrapping yourself up in cozy blankets and really being in that moment of warmth. And yeah, it's just like, even like warm sweaters, right? It feels so nice, it feels so warm, it feels so cozy. And we don't really stand still at how it really feels sometimes. And we're just like, oh my God, it's so cold, I need to wrap myself up in a million blankets. And then, you're just like so busy with trying to keep out the cold, when you can also shift that attention to feeling more of the warmth. So one thing I love is like a small example that you could do is like creating maybe a space in your room or in your house or wherever that is like a cozy space, like a cozy corner with pillows, with blankets, with maybe stuffed animals, and like just having some time every day to go there and to wrap yourself up and to enjoy the coziness of the fall, to enjoy the coziness of being in a space that provides some safety and some comfort. The second one, finding joy in movement. So, movement is a really natural way to release tension from the body and tap into joy, especially combined with music. And just having a small practice daily of even if it's just 5 minutes or 3 minutes or just one song, where you're letting yourself move to it and without any choreography, without any attachment to what it should look like. Maybe just without mirrors, just dancing without a mirror to your favorite song one time every day can already help you tap into more of that joy, and it can also help you release some stagnancy and some heaviness that may come with feeling a little bit more sad, a little bit more down with the seasons change. The third one is cultivating a practice of gratitude. I always love gratitude because it brings me back to the present. It brings me back to what I have. And when you do have a really connected gratitude practice, you can actually tap into the feeling of gratitude, and that is such a beautiful and fulfilling and open and warm energy. And gratitude doesn't have to be complicated. It can be noticed in the really small things. In the things of having a cup of tea in the morning, of having a blanket to wrap around you, of having warm clothes to protect you from the cold, of having a bed to sleep in, of having a roof over your head. It can be incredibly simple, and you can still find that gratitude even in small moments of your day. So at the end of the day, like a practice that you can do here is at the end of the day, write down maybe 5 things that happened today that you're grateful for. And don't be afraid to get specific here, right? You can be grateful for that time a stranger smiled at you, or maybe for your cat coming to cuddle you. It can be so small, but there's so much overflow of gratitude to be found in those really small moments. And it's often these small moments that often get unnoticed. So bringing back your awareness to them can help you tap into that gratitude and thus also tap into the joy that comes with that. Another one is connecting with nature here. Often we want to stay inside because it gets cold, because it gets dark, because it gets gray. But nature in fall is incredible. Even in winter, there's so much to admire there. There's so much to find there. And there's so much beauty and calmness that lies in the death that occurs in winter with all the leaves having fallen off the trees, and the release that happens in fall where all the leaves are just dancing around you like rain. I find so much magic in these moments when I'm out in nature. When I do feel a little bit sad, or when I do feel like my energy feels very low, or I feel tired, just go outside. And I know that this is a very generic piece of advice, like, oh, you feel sad, just go outside. But it does really, really work, because nature has this effect on us because we are nature. And going back to nature just really helps you tap into that sense of inherent calm, the sense of inherent beauty of life. And going outside and breathing in the crispy, fresh air and noticing how that feels in your body, how that feels in your lungs. And looking at the falling leaves, or maybe the mushrooms, or in winter even like the frozen leaves and the spider webs. And there's just so much in nature to admire and observe. And when you create some space for that, when you create some time for that, you can allow it to affect you. Because in a world that's so industrial, like there's so many, nature is like, sometimes you have to, from your house, be on the way for at least 15 minutes to find some nature. It's not that close around us anymore. So that makes it so much more important to take the time to connect, to create this space to be in nature for a moment. And the fifth one is surrounding yourself with people that lift your spirits. I know this might be a simple one or obvious one, but we often underestimate the power and the beauty of connection in those moments that we feel down, in those moments that we feel drained. Just spending time with loved ones, even if you're maybe not laughing, but just connecting, it can still cultivate so much joy because there's joy in connection, there's joy in depth. And learning to find joy outside of the mainstream sources like laughter. Of course, there's joy in laughter. But I find there to be joy in so many other things too. And just looking at, okay, where can I create that extra connection of, oh, actually, this is joyful. Actually, this feels joyful. And you can do this through just connecting with a friend, but also just doing some things that normally bring you joy. So write out a list of, okay, what makes me feel happy? And whether that be reading a book or listening to music or cooking or crafting or painting or playing outside, just anything. Like, what makes me feel joy? Write out a list. And then whenever you do feel drained, whenever you feel like, oh, what is joy even? Like, I haven't experienced joy in quite some time. You can return to that list and look at these things. Oh, okay, these used to make me feel joy, so let me try them. Let me see if they can spark some joy again. And I just want to emphasize the power of intention here as well, because joy is not only to be found, it's also to be cultivated. Joy can be a choice. And even on more difficult days, you can choose to find the joy. You can choose to find the magic. You can choose to pour a little bit more into that joyful light that you have within yourself. And I also want to remind you that it's not a one-step process. Like finding joy again, especially on difficult days or when the seasons get a little bit more darker and grayer and heavier, it's always a process. It's always an ongoing journey of reconnecting with that joy. So to also be compassionate, be graceful, even if you tried something that used to make you feel joyful, now it just doesn't work anymore, that's okay. Being loving, being compassionate, and always being graceful with yourself in the process. So I want to invite you to choose maybe one or two practices that I talked about today and incorporate them in your day, and just noticing how you feel, noticing if you can tap into a little bit more joy. And every small intentional act can bring you a little bit closer to the warmth and the joy that you have already within yourself, and that can carry you through these more darker, more heavy months. Thank you for listening, and I hope that this was helpful to you. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. I'd love to hear what practices you're incorporating into your day, and I'll see you in the next one.